Hey, welcome to Life After Nursing School. I'm your host, Caroline Dana, aka Nurse Coach Caroline, and I'm here to help you, the new nurse, thrive in your career. As a former nurse recruiter, nurse manager, and now your personal new nurse career coach, I'm obsessed with making sure you don't just survive your first couple of years at the bedside. I want you to absolutely rock them. From the challenges to the triumphs, I'll be right here with you, giving you the real-world advice and support that you need to shine. Whether you're in nursing school getting ready for life after, or you're already out there in nurse life feeling overwhelmed or even questioning your confidence, I've got your back. I'll be sharing tips, tricks, resources, and strategies that are just for you. We'll dive into everything from landing that dream nursing job to slaying imposter syndrome, and most importantly, how to keep that spark alive and stay the vibrant and amazing nurse that you are. So if you're ready to tackle the things nursing school did not cover, like how to build a career, trust yourself, and keep your passion strong, then get comfortable because we are about to dive in and make nurse life the best life. Welcome back to the Life After Nursing School podcast. I'm really excited because today marks the end of year 2 in business for me. And now we are going to embark on year 3 as an entrepreneur. And it's been quite a wild ride. I never thought in a million years that I would start my own business or do any of the things that I'm doing. But I can also say that I am so fortunate and find so much fulfillment in doing what I am doing right now. So I'm really excited to share that with you today. I really plan to pull the curtains back and give you an idea of what it looks like for me in my everyday business, especially when I'm not teaching clinical or, being a mom to my 3 kids and taking care of my little farm here. So that's kind of my goal for this episode. I do want to just share with you that episode 7 of the Life After Nursing School podcast is called From Nurse to Entrepreneur, and it was my journey for that first year in entrepreneurship and the 5 essential lessons that I learned. And honestly, those lessons are still applicable today, and I think will be until, the end of business, right? So those lessons that I really dive into deep are surround yourself with motivated people. And you know what, guys? This can be applied to whether you have a business or not. Nothing happens overnight, especially because we see everything on social media that makes things look easy. They make things look instant, like they are built overnight. Protect your passion. And that's true. If you are interested in starting a business or you have an idea or you want to do something a little bit different, you need to protect that passion in those early stages because not everyone's going to understand it. And you don't need to get cold feet. The other lesson that I learned is to put your blinders on. Like, do not compare yourself to other people. Don't compare your business to someone else's business. You are your own person. And this is the same with your nursing career, right? You are you. You're made up very differently than other people. You've had different experiences than other people, life experiences, clinical experiences, work experiences, and your career is going in its own trajectory. So we don't need to be constantly comparing ourselves to other people, especially people that are super successful that have done it much longer than us, right? Of course, they're going to be ahead. And then lastly, don't be scared to give away value for free. That was something that I definitely learned early on, right? In order to build credibility, you need to share the knowledge that is valuable. Doesn't mean you're giving every single thing away, but you do need to share that to sort of mark your place in the marketplace. Wow, I did not script that, so interesting. So this episode is a little bit less about the lessons learned and more so about what it looks like to run a business as a nurse, and at least for me, and also my plans and hopes for year 3 in business. So if you have been considering entrepreneurship or you have a side hustle that you want to grow, or you're just interested in what the heck I do every day, this episode's a great one to listen to, okay? All right, so let's jump right in here. So let's talk about entrepreneurship, what it actually looks like for me on a day-to-day basis. The first thing I want to say is that I work on my business every single day. Let me give you an example, okay? Last week was probably one of the worst weeks I've had in a really long time. Monday, my dog died. It was horrible. I'm not even going to get into it. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I had a terrible migraine. And I also had to teach clinical. And then starting on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, my kids had flu A, flu B, and strep. We had a combination of that in our house, and it was a very long few days. But let me tell you, every single day, I opened up my laptop and I put in some work. I genuinely love my business and what I do. So I do have that innate motivation to do it and to open my laptop and get started. But I put in countless hours into my business. The great thing is that I can open my laptop while my kids are at dance lessons, or while my son's at soccer practice, or after my kids go to school, I can open my laptop. I am so lucky that I'm sitting in the driver's seat and there is so much flexibility that I really can get in so much work on the go. Now, I would also say that my business is growing at a very steady rate, which is great, right? I will say by year 3, I think I thought I would be farther ahead in a different way, but it's really because of what you see online, right? You see people making these online businesses overnight, or starting podcasts that blow up overnight, or whatever. And I think I thought I would be so far ahead because everyone on social media, in full transparency, makes things look really simple, really easy, and also portray this version of their experience that their business blew up overnight. But a lot of times when you stop and you dive deep into their business or their story, you realize that they've been doing this for years. So while I thought things would be further along, I am really excited to say that I have more than doubled my revenue from year 2 compared to year 1. So that's really exciting. But I will also say here too that every penny that I have made from my business, I have put right back in my business. So if you have been a customer of mine and you have purchased any of my courses or services offered over the last 2 years, I cannot thank you enough because you are helping me just fund this passion of mine. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, I will say the interesting thing with at least an online business is that you are constantly refining things and making things better and thinking to yourself, how can I make this easier? How can I make this more impactful? What do new nurses want? What do nursing students want from my courses? And I have just refined my 2 major courses, which is Application Advantage, all about resume and cover letter creation. And then I have another one called New Grad Nurse Interview Blueprint. So those are my 2 big digital courses. And I am so excited that I've been able to refine them. I knew they were good the first time around, but I feel like now they are like gold. So I feel really confident in now continuing to share that resource with the world. So on a day-to-day basis, really depends what I'm doing or my family has, going on that day for my business. But let's just say it's a weekday and I'm not teaching clinical. I'm likely getting my 2 oldest on the bus, and then I am getting my youngest up for school, and then I am bringing her to school, and then after drop off around 9 o'clock, I am either going to the library in town, our Starbucks in town, or I am going home. But I try to get out of the house a few times because I just feel like I can concentrate a bit better there. I like change of scenery, and it helps me get into that flow state. So I will probably get started into work around 9:30, and then I go until I pick up my daughter from preschool around 2:30. So I go the entire time, and I'm working on things like podcast scripts or podcast guests. I am working on social media content creation. I am refining all of my offerings, my lead magnets. I am also working on social media content. So there's always something to be done. I have a blog that I also post every week. So I am kind of on this, I don't want to say hamster wheel, but I kind of know every week the things that I need to get done. But what I have tried to really lean into, at least now that I'm in 2026, is to batch work, which is something that you may or may not have heard of. But basically, when you are sitting down to do something, you're doing as many of those reps as you can. So for me, I like to send an email to all of my email subscribers once a week. So many times when I sit down to write an email, I'll write 2 of them, or I'll write 3, and I'll kind of get a couple weeks ahead. And usually I'm sharing a message, I'm sharing tips on career navigation, and then I'm also sharing my podcast episode for that week, just if it's something that in case you really find valuable. And I will sit down and do all of those things. And then like another batch creation will be like today, I'm going to try and record 2 to 3 episodes of my podcast because I have everything ready to go. Now I've put on a little bit of makeup, I've got my hair brushed, I got some scrubs on, and I can sit down and really go through some of those episodes and get that already going. I find it helps so much with efficiency, and when you change tasks a lot, you actually lose a lot of time because it takes your body and your brain so long to change tasks and change workflows. So I'm just trying to be a little bit more efficient and smart with my time in 2026. So I know I touched upon revenue for my business. Like I said, year 2 more than doubled my revenue, which is really exciting. And again, every dollar has been reinvested into my business because it's important to me that what I create grows with my audience and also just gets better and better every day. I haven't paid myself in a traditional sense, so I am obviously still working as a part-time nursing instructor. 2 days a week, I go and take students into the clinical setting, and we go to a hospital that's about 45 minutes away from me, and I teach them during evening shift on a med-surg floor, and then I also will help out in lab as well. So I do have a part-time job, for the stable income side of things, and it's a wonderful balance. I'm able to be present with my kids. I'm able to work my business in between different things in my life and around all of my kids' obligations and things. And then I have that stable income coming from being a nursing instructor. And I think that is honestly such a unique thing in a career, to have a job that you can literally be part-time, per diem, night shift. Like, we're so lucky as nurses that we can kind of figure out a role or find a role in nursing that fits with our life at the time, our season of life, or different priorities in our life. And right now, my priority, aside from my family, of course, is my business. So I found a job that I absolutely love, but also is very flexible and is perfect for the season that I'm in. The draw for me when it comes to entrepreneurship is not money. It's not, because let me tell you, like I said, I'm going into year 3. I have not paid myself. It's gone all right back into my business. However, the draw for me is that I have a sense of freedom with entrepreneurship. Like, it is my business. I decide what I want to work on, when I want to work on it, what direction I want to go in. I am the one that gets to call all the shots. And I don't know, maybe that sounds a little controlling, but what I mean is, when I was in different roles, like especially in management, when I was the assistant nurse manager at a large level 1 hospital in the pediatric ER, and then I was nurse manager of a med-surg COVID behavioral health unit, both of those times, I actually had so many constraints in what I could and couldn't do. And middle management, you had to answer to the people above you, but then you had to turn around and look the people in the eye below you or that you were over and tell them what the priority should be, even when it wasn't something that you felt passionate about. So I think for me, it was really hard to make change on the unit when I was manager, when it wasn't something that I felt actually truly helped the staff at the bedside. I wasn't passionate about that. Going to huddle and having to remind everyone to fill out the whiteboards killed me. It was like, why? I can't believe I'm wasting my breath on this. To me, I just feel like the whiteboards, that is the least of our concern. But if you talk to people above us, right, in upper leadership, they are so worried about patient satisfaction and the experience of the patient that sometimes we forget things that really truly matter for the patient's health and their outcome. So anyways, not to go off on a tangent here, but I think I really enjoy the entrepreneur side of things because I just find that I have the freedom to follow my passion without anyone telling me otherwise. And I really feel like I am helping nurses in a meaningful way. And I think for me, what's really important is that nurses, they often find themselves so stuck in their career. And I think it leaves many of them quite bitter. that I want them to realize that they're the ones in the driver's seat of their career. There are so many opportunities out there. And if they are in a place where they're feeling stuck or unhappy, pivot, my friend. Pivot, go somewhere else, go to a new role. And I'm telling you, you're going to be so much happier. Yes, change is scary, but stagnation and staying in the same place is expensive on so many levels, right? Expensive emotionally and also monetarily. Something very exciting that I did in year 2 that I had not done in year 1 was hire a VA. And initially the VA that I had, she's so wonderful. And she helped me with the onboarding because I didn't even know how to onboard, someone to work with you. And also when I say VA, if you don't know, that's virtual assistant. So my first virtual assistant was a nurse herself and started her own virtual assisting business. And she helped me so much. She did all of my editing for my podcast episodes because that takes a long time. And I also find I am my own worst enemy. I feel like I was editing every little thing. So she did that for me and that took so much off my plate. And she helped me with the onboarding and working together and what that looked like. And it was so nice. So I paid her every single month to help me. And then recently I actually ended up changing VAs, and this new VA, it went so much smoother because I had done it already once before with the other VA. So that was really fun. I gave this VA a few more things to do for me. So I feel like I have more help in the things that are not my zone of genius, okay? She does the editing of my podcast. She helps me with my blog. She helps me with some of the clips from my episodes. So I could not do it without her. So I am really excited that I crossed paths with my current VA. Both have been wonderful. Highly recommend if you get to a point where you feel like you are wasting your time in the weeds of your business and you're not actually operating in that zone of genius and what is literally like going to make your business and make you and known and credible in the space, like hire some help. Okay. So I'm really, really happy about that. But let me tell you what, initially working with a VA, delegating tasks, that brought me right back to being a new nurse, being like unsure how to delegate. And also in this sense, like I will give my VA, obviously the raw footage of my podcast episode, and they have made edits. And then I listen back to it again and I have additional edits. Initially, it was really hard for me to be like, hey, could you also fix this part of the episode and that part to my liking? But I realized the more that I was giving the feedback to my VAs, the more they understood what I liked and didn't like, and the better that they do, like going forward, and like the less edits I have in the, future for them. And there's always a way to deliver it in a way that is respectful, right? No one's perfect, especially when you're running your own business. Like we have things a particular way. Most CEOs feel like, wait, I want things done a certain way, and no one can be in your head. But the more information and feedback you give to the people that you work with, the better they're going to be able to adapt and learn what you like and don't like. So that the whole delegation piece of things in nursing definitely is a transferable skill that you really can use in entrepreneurship. And I think the nice thing about having help and getting out of the weeds and also being able to delegate some of these time-consuming tasks to someone else, it obviously allows me to get my zone of genius. I mentioned that, right? I'm able to do more mock interviews, support people on a one-on-one basis, make more content creation, that kind of a thing. And then also, it just allows me to sustain this, right? Like I said, building a business does not happen overnight. I don't care who claims it does. I promise you, 98% of the time, it is not built overnight. So it's a marathon, right? It's not a sprint. And I say that about our nursing careers in general, right? If we go out of the gate, 110% and we try and sustain that, we are going to be so burnt out before we even, get halfway through the race. And the same is with entrepreneurship. So giving some of these time-consuming, labor-intensive tasks to someone else so I can put my energy to the things that are moving the needle is a great way to just stay the course and not become burnt out. Okay, I want to share a story with you. Me and one of my friends, I won't name names, okay, had an idea to do this thing for nurses. I won't give too much details away here, but we had the opportunity to potentially work together to create something for new nurses. And I really think that actually there's a place for this. And initially when we talked about it, I was like, yes, let's do it. When can we do it, etc. And I really got close to pulling the trigger and doing it until there was just like something in my gut that was like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And I've gotten better at listening to my intuition, and my intuition's always been something very strong through nursing, through my life. And when something doesn't sit 100% right, then I pause and I really think about it. So I actually ended up realizing like, this doesn't make sense for me. Yes, it would help my people who are new nurses. It would help them so much. However, it's taking me off of my current path, which is really right now supporting their career transition, starting as a new grad nurse in the nursing profession. And it's pulling me to a different route. And I had to really stop and think to myself, is this the best move for me right now? I knew it would be very labor intensive. It was going to be very heavy teaching. It was going to be super time consuming. And honestly, it's aligned with my mission of helping new nurses, but it would take me away from exactly what I am known for, and that's helping nurses get their first job. So once I had kind of realized all of the things it was going to cost me, in a sense, I knew that this opportunity just wasn't the time right now. A part of me wanted to just revert back to old instincts of telling this person like, hey, I'm not sure I can do it. I might not be the right time. Sort of make excuses or soften the truth because I wanted an easy way out. However, I obviously respect this individual so much. So I thought to myself, wait a minute, I am running a business. I am technically the CEO. Okay. Yes, I know it's a business of one right now, but still, I am technically the CEO. Would a CEO soften the truth or even give some type of fabricated excuse to get out of something? Or would they just simply say, hey, I'm going to have to pass on this. It is not currently aligned with my core mission and the priorities of my business right now, right? So I put on my big girl pants or my CEO pants, and I actually ended up voice memoing this person, telling her the truth, being direct and honest, saying, hey, I know I said yes to this. I know that actually initially this excited me so much and I could see myself doing this someday. However, the more I look at my current business priorities and the things going on in my business and what I want my business to be, the more I realize that I can't do both right now, right? And I also refuse to not be a present mom, or have things, come in between me and my family. So I told her this, and honestly, she took it so well. She voice memoed me back, totally understand. I was kind of surprised you were going to take it on to begin with. We're obviously still like professional friends, and, maybe we'll be able to do this someday in the future. So I really, honestly, for a moment, I was like, I feel really proud of myself because telling people the truth can be really hard sometimes, right? We feel like we're letting people down, or we feel like we're worried what they're going to think about us. But at the end of the day, I truly believe you cannot go wrong with telling the truth. And I also believe that the truth always comes out in some way, shape, or form. So it's just better to be honest, and then you can kind of move on from there. So I felt like that was a big CEO moment, or at least mindset. And I hope to continue to do that when I have to back out of things, or I have to say no to a great opportunity, or maybe something initially I want to say yes to, but then I take a moment to think about it and go, is this really the best use of my time right now for my business? Now, I also have mentioned this a bit, but what I learned in year 2, and especially going off of my last story, is that you need to stay the course. If you are thinking about starting a business, my friend, you need to find the one thing, and you need to stick with the one thing and just do everything for that one thing, okay? And from there, once you build a successful business, you can branch out to other things. I've seen it a lot in the business world. Jenna Kutcher, who is one of my all-time favorite business people, she started out with making a very successful photography business and then morphed it into a business that helps entrepreneurs build online businesses. So things can expand later on, but in order to gain credibility You need to stay the course, and the one thing that you want to be known for, the one thing that you are offering, your service, whatever that is, you need to stay that course, because reputation is built slowly. And I will tell you, I'm closing out year 2, and I am just now really getting word of mouth referrals, which is really interesting how that, it's been 2 years. You would almost think that that would come sooner, but it doesn't. And in waves of hiring, I'm helping people on a cyclical basis, right? So I even got an email last night that said, hey, I actually was referred to by a nurse that I met at clinical. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what part of the world this person's from. But to me, that is also the ultimate testimonial or validation that what I am doing is helping people, right? I didn't reach out to this person and ask her if she had a good experience, and she was just like, yeah, great experience. No, this person, whoever they are, told another nurse about me because I helped her get a job. So for me, that is like so incredibly valuable. Literally reading that email made my entire night last night. So whoever you are, thank you. But with that being said, reputation takes time. Credibility takes time. It's not going to happen overnight, but if we're constantly pivoting, then all of a sudden we're not known for anything. Okay. So we just need to stay the course. And that's something I definitely continue to plan on doing, going into my 3rd year. Obviously, I had just shared that story where I had to turn down an opportunity, but I do feel like that was the right decision. My word of the year is ease. And it's not easy. Okay. I don't expect building a business to be easy. However, I do truly feel like if something's meant for you, or you're also following like the things that you're good at, and you're doing things sort of the right way, or the way that is like morally driven, like opportunities will come with ease. Things will just present themselves without feeling like you're constantly paddling against the current, right? So now anytime I am getting opportunities to do things, I am like, okay, is it aligned with my business? Is it aligned with who I am? What are they asking of me? Is it really worth my time? Is it something that is going to help me move the needle? And then I also find if I am reaching out for opportunities for things and all these doors are shut, then like that's not coming with ease, right? Then I need to repivot, because I really truly believe you aren't going to feel like you're going against current your entire entrepreneurship journey if you are sticking to good morals, following what your talents are, and keeping your clients' best interests in mind. So that is definitely something that as things come in, I am like thinking about that. I'm filtering through on that and really deciding like, is this opportunity aligned and is it worth my time? And it's really anything. Like I got a message to take a picture in these scrubs, actually, Mediclo scrubs, which I love. Didn't even know I was going to love them. But if you're watching this, this is like the prettiest blue ever. And they said, hey, we love your content. If we sent you a couple scrubs, would you be willing to take a picture that we could use for whatever? And I was like, sure. You know what? Yes, I looked up everything. They were affordable. They're made from plastic, like all of these things that I was like, okay, this feels aligned. They're only asking me for a picture. Like you guys don't even know some of these DMs that I get like for pitching things. I told this story the other day on my social media, but I got pitched supplements and they were like, if we send you this, it was like beef protein supplement, would you go on social media and create 2 reels saying how much you love the product and you've been using it for months and it's done all these things for you? Would you add a static post and would you all these things? I'm like, no way. On so many different levels, right? No way, because hello, I've never used the product. And also I'm not going to like supplements that I don't know anything about, like not putting my name on that. And then also the ask was so crazy high. No, that is nothing for me. That's a terrible use of my time. Even if they offered $1,000 or whatever, some ridiculous amount, that is not the best use of my time. That is not helping new grad nurses land jobs, right? No, it is not. So sorry to go off on a tangent there, but just something that I'm really have been reflecting on and trying to be more aware of and just be so much more strategic in my time and energy. Year 2 was definitely one of learning. I spent a lot of the money that I made in my business on reinvesting in myself. I'm not talking about I'm taking money and putting it in like an investment stock. That's not what I mean. I mean, I am literally buying courses to learn how to make the best digital course. Okay. That was actually my biggest investment in myself, was $2,000 to take a course to learn how to make a really good digital product. And I did that before I refined my 2 current digital courses. So that was a big investment for me. It was like $2,000. Like I am just, I'm in the beginning stages of entrepreneurship and trying to get my feet under me. So it was hard to do that, but it helped so much. And then I have taken a course on how to start a podcast, right? I took a course on Pinterest. So what I think is really interesting is that when you're in entrepreneurship, it is so critical that you are investing in yourself from like an educational standpoint, because my background is nursing. I did not go to business school. I did not learn anything business. I also have no entrepreneurial people in my life, really. So my mom and dad, they weren't entrepreneurs. I didn't grow up with that mindset. I didn't know what that looked like. So it's all on me, and I can't learn everything on my own. I mean, I could probably try, right? But that's going to take me so much time, so much trial and error. And to me, money is best spent in getting to the next step in my business. So that was big this year, reinvesting the money, especially in learning different avenues of my business, was so critical. But the result of it, I feel like I have 2 great digital courses right now, and I'm really happy and proud of them. Something I learned this year especially was that you need to shoot your shot, okay? And what I mean by that is, don't be afraid to pitch whatever it is you need, or ask someone a favor. And in this past year, for me, a lot of that has been being a guest on my podcast. I have messaged people, I have voice memoed people, and I'm very particular about who I have on my show. I want whoever I have on my show to have a good message to send that I think is helpful to send to listeners, someone that brings value, right? Or something we can learn as nurses. And if you don't fit that criteria, you're not going to be on the show. I've had people message me asking to be on the show, but I'm like, what are you going to bring to the table? Not that you're not going to bring anything, but I'm like, I need to know before I have you on my show what it is that you are going to share with my listeners that is going to put them one step further in their career or closer to success, and whatever that looks like for them. And it's hard to shoot your shot. And I had an opportunity this past year to shoot my shot in person. So I went to a career event that was held by Indeed. It was called Careers in Care Off the Clock event in New York City. And we sat through a panel discussion, and it was all about career moves and pivoting and resumes and interviewing and all stuff that I love. And the head of the Job Search Academy through Indeed was there. His name's Matt Burnt. And at the end of the panel discussion, I went directly up to Matt. I was so nervous, and I introduced myself and I said, "Hey, would you ever be willing to be on a podcast episode?" And he was like, "Heck yeah, let's do it. You can find me on LinkedIn." So, of course, I go home, go to LinkedIn, and can't message him because I don't have the pro version or something along those lines. And so then I end up finding someone that is friends with someone that works at Indeed. And I said, "Can you get me his email?" Got his email and just said, "Hey, remember me? I'd love to have you on the show," etc. And his episode was just 2 or 3 episodes ago. And it was one of my favorite conversations yet on my show. So, there's a saying that's like, closed mouths don't get fed. So you need to be the one to open your mouth, say something, right? And he could have said, "Sorry, no, I don't do podcasts." Okay, fine, right? But asking, especially in the moment, like saying, "Hey, I met you. You said you would be on my podcast," etc. Like making that initial connection was, I think, imperative to him being on my show. So you got to shoot your shot. The worst thing that they could say or do is no. It's fine. But I feel like that was, again, more of that CEO mindset and energy. Like, hey, I'm at this networking event. This guy is awesome. I need to have him on my show. At the end of it, I walked right up there and introduced myself and asked him. It was great. It worked out. Okay, something that I have really appreciated in year 2 and highly recommend if you're starting a business is finding someone that is like as crazy as you and maybe starting a business or in the online space or whatever it is that is similar to what you're doing. So I have a friend named Jen, and me and her, we actually went to college together. She was a few years younger than me. We ran cross country together, and she's a gem. About a year ago, Jen asked me to jump on a call with her because she was building a business and she saw I was building a business. And, we knew each other obviously from college years. So I jumped on a call with her. We talked all things business, sharing some different insights and things and struggles. And I literally was like, this is what it looks like, etc. And then time went on and we both enrolled in the same course for the digital courses that we were making. And she was like, hey, I see you're in this course with me. And we decided to be accountability partners. And I really thought we were just going to do it throughout the course, and that's that. But me and her voice memo almost every day. And we're really good at the start of the week checking in with each other, saying, hey, what are your goals for the week? Like, what are you working on? Are you struggling with anything, etc.? First of all, the value in having someone that holds you accountable is so great. And when you start in entrepreneurship, your mind is constantly thinking about your business. How can I do this? What are they doing? That's cool. Look at that advertisement. Everything you come across, you are thinking about how it can apply your business or how you can take what they're doing in that business and, oh, that's cool. Let me try it in my business, etc. Right? The wheels are constantly turning. To have someone that is also as excited about building a business that you can turn to and chat with is so fun. It's so incredibly valuable. I will say she's definitely someone that I have messaged after getting like big projects done, being like, hey, I just finished, my interview blueprint course. I'm so excited. And she is equally as happy for me when I do those things, like when I finish things in my own business. What's nice is she's not a nurse. She's not building a similar business in that framework, but we're both in sort of that coaching space and wanting to help people. We use similar online tools, similar tactics. We have a little bit of an online presence. So having someone that understands the business struggle, understands business lingo and the trials and tribulations is really, really nice. And I think what's even more helpful is the amount of things we've unpacked together, like maybe mindset shifts when it comes to money or how are we messaging things and maybe our insecurities. There are so many times where me and her will listen to a voice memo from the other person and respond back being like, what I'm hearing is blah, blah, blah. And honestly, it's so funny how you can say all these things and you can't even hear yourself in a sense. But the other person is like acting as your sounding board, being like, I am hearing that you don't like XYZ or this is a struggle or whatever. And we're really good about challenging each other. Not too long ago, she was telling me about all these things she has going on. And I said to her, don't take this the wrong way, but it feels like you have too many things going on at once and you have a little bit of like shiny object syndrome. And she was like, you are absolutely right. Took a step back and then so many things for her fell into place after that. It's honestly, it was really interesting. And it's just nice to have someone to be vulnerable with. Business is so hard. You get into your head so many times. I can't even tell you how many times I have stopped and been like, what the heck am I doing? Why can't I just be happy having a job, a normal job, and just being an employee? Like, why do I have to go off on this entrepreneur path? And there have been times I just reach out to her being like, this is what I'm struggling with. And she kind of talks me off the ledge, if you will. And also many times during those moments, I get amazing testimonials from my clients. And I'm like, wow, okay. Like, I know I am doing this. I'm doing this to help new grads, to help, the version of myself that no one helped. Yeah, I'll get off my saga on that, but don't do entrepreneurship alone if you don't have to, because it is really lonely. And I've tried talking to my husband about lead magnets and email lists and all of the things. And he doesn't find it interesting. He's not passionate about it. And he also doesn't understand it. And why would he? He's not building a business, right? So having someone else to sort of match your energy and your level of commitment is really, really helpful. Okay, I think that is enough on year 2. I want to share my hopes, dreams, and vision for year 3. So first and foremost, the plan is to stay in my lane, right? Still focus on helping new grads and nursing students land great jobs right out of school. I have definitely been guilty of shiny object syndrome in the past where different opportunities come about and I'm like, ooh, that would be fun. Let's do it. When really, again, I need to be mindful of where my time is best spent. I also plan to face my fear of visibility. And I know it might sound funny that I have a fear of visibility when here I am like posting video podcast episodes and I make social media content, but I do have a fear of visibility. I don't know what it is. I think it's probably underlying fear of failure, right? The more visible you are, if you fail, you feel like you're on stage failing. When in reality, I don't think everyone is as invested into your career and your success as much as you think they are. But when I discovered that fear of visibility was something I was battling, I decided, all right, now I'm posting video to my podcast. I'm really getting used to seeing my face, seeing myself talk, hearing myself talk. I mean, all of it is really nerve-wracking in a sense for me. So we're going to continue with video to podcast, and bear with me, guys. I think I need to get a new camera. I need to make things a little bit sharper. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm posting it to YouTube, but I'm just slowly learning this sort of new skill to my business. So I'm just trying to lean into that fear a little bit more. I definitely want to do more networking. I love in-person events. Anything in person, I love. I match people's energy. I love having a good time. I love making people laugh. I love teaching. So I really want to definitely do more in-person things. I would love to do another Student Nurses Day conference. I did one in Connecticut 2 years ago now, and that was really fun. Actually, it was a year and a half ago. So I'm hoping to do that again, just to meet some of you. And I would love to go back to that Indeed event in New York City. I think that was so fun, meeting a lot of other people in healthcare and also other business owners. And then my dream is definitely to go to the National Student Nurses Association conference. I don't know if that's going to happen this year. It is quite expensive to have an exhibit booth, but man, I would absolutely love that. I know I'm one of those weirdos that loves those exhibit halls in any job fair or career fair or conference. For me, those exhibit halls are just so fun. Meeting people, shaking hands, learning about other businesses and industries and opportunities is just incredible. I'm definitely going to keep doing long form content. I really like podcasting. I love chatting with someone else. I definitely like the guest episodes more than the solo, but they're a nice mix. And I find that the long form content is more my jam than short form social media. However, I will stay on social media because it is where I can connect with everybody. I will say I struggle on there. Some weeks I'm great, I'm posting. Other weeks I am just in the weeds of my life, right? Again, 3 kids, my business, I've got my part-time job, my husband's in the military, and he's an ortho PA. So we're busy, right? But I hope to be a little bit more consistent in social media. And then my absolute dream for year 3, and maybe someone out there can help me with this. I really want to do workshops for nursing programs. I would love to go to schools in person and present workshops, whether it's a job readiness workshop or resume and cover letter workshop, interview workshop, all of that stuff I love. I think it would be an incredible experience to just get in front of students and give them something exciting to learn and lean into. I think there's not enough emphasis on that next step in the nursing journey, which is getting a job. And I would love to remind students, this is what your hard work is leading you to. This is the next step for you, and helping them feel empowered by this next step versus completely lost. So if you're listening and you are part of your student nurse association, or you think it would be a good fit, or you'd love to potentially connect me to your dean of nursing or your career center, I would absolutely love the introduction. I would love to connect with you. You can message me on social media. I am at Nurse Coach Caroline on Instagram and TikTok, or you can even email me at nurscoachcaroline@gmail.com. I'll put everything in the show notes like it usually is. But if you think your nursing program would benefit from a job readiness workshop or anything like that, please reach out to me. Let me know. I'm happy to discuss things further. I'm also happy to do it virtually. I do live in Connecticut. If you're from California, it's a little bit far, but of course I can do things virtually as well. So that's something I would really love to do. I'd really love to get into these nursing programs and get everyone excited for that next step and have some fun with it. So I think that wraps up today's episode. I will say entrepreneurship has stretched me more than nursing ever did. However, I don't think I would have been able to sustain the trials and tribulations of entrepreneurship without learning resilience through nursing. So I am so grateful for my entire career up to this point, and it's really forced me to come out of my shell, to be my own advocate, and to put myself first and my business first. And that's definitely something new for me. Year 3 really is not about doing more, but it's about doing more of what matters. If you're out there and building something or considering building something, stay the course. Know that it will take time. And if you are true to you and the people that you are going to serve, like, you will get there and you will build something really great and really special. All right, guys, as always, I have one hand for me, the other for you. Signing off. Well, that's it for today's episode of Life After Nursing School. I hope you feel more confident and ready to tackle the challenges that come with starting your nursing career. Remember, the first year or 2 might not be easy, but with the right mindset, you can overcome anything. If you found value in today's episode, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a future episode. Also, please consider leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform. It helps so much in reaching other new nurses like you. Thanks for listening, and remember, you've got this. Take care and see you next time.